everybody, this is Johnny S with another R6 vlog, another R6 night vlog. I hope you can hear me well. We're going out for a chill out ride, not in a rush, just chilling out. It's very hot, so I thought, you know, we'll go out, get some wind. Trying to let people pass by. Very tired, very tired. It's a difficult day today. Didn't have any sleep, didn't have much of anything today. I'm also trying some new boots that I bought. So I got these new boots that I'm trying. One of the things that I like to do when I get new boots, kind of to break them in, let's say, is I have a look at the bottom side of the boots and see where, let's say, they're more rough, see where they might get stuck on the foot pegs, and then I might take a short ride where I will put my foot and drag my foot along the pavement, just like slow speeds like now, and just in an angle where I think that the shoe, basically grinding the bottom of the shoe sorry, in specific angles like I'm doing now. With these ones, it's the back sole. The back sole, so the back of the foot, there's a little higher thing like this much. The middle of it is got very pointy things, and when you put them on the foot peg, sometimes they hit first. You know, your foot you have it on and they get stuck. So I'm trying now to put my foot on the back side, kind of, and just slowly grind it a little bit. Already, by the looks of it, it feels better. You know what I mean? So you don't have to go silly, but you just, I don't know if you can hear it. You gotta be careful so your foot doesn't get caught. I'm going 50 kilometers. Yeah, already it's, already it's better. So in today's video, we're gonna have a discussion about a topic that I've seen lately some people discuss on the internet, and I think I'll express my opinion on the matter as well. Yeah, the boots are much better. God damn, that thing makes a difference. And that is going to be, are super sport bikes too much for your first bike? And we're not going to focus only on the super sport, but this is probably what I will call the title, because super sport bikes are associated with more advanced riding style, technique, and a higher degree of challenge, let's say. I'm not here to dispute any of these things, obviously. You know, super sport bikes do have a higher degree of challenge, let's say, but whether they are, you know, whether they are, you know, easy, whether they are, whether you can say that they are or they are not to be a first bike is a big argument. You know what I mean? And this is why I wanted to phrase my opinions, because I've heard both sides. They've got good points. I'm not here to dispute any of them. Some are against. Some videos that I saw, they were all for it. Some were all against it. And like I said, with very good points, but I don't think it's as simple as that. I will speak from my own experience. I don't presume to be like the super duper expert. You know, this is how I see it, how I feel it, and also me going through these videos just randomly, you know what I mean, on the internet, actually helped me arrive to this decision. Because like I said, both sides had awesome arguments, you know what I mean. Some people were saying Yes, they are because the technology on the super sport bike is much more advanced. That means that it helps you, protect you. It is true, you know what I mean? Some people were saying they were focused more on the obsession that its bike brings to you. So they were saying, you know, that if you're going to get a 1000 bike, you're going to get more obsessed and you're going to do more things, and that's going to cause you to crash. Again, that's true. You know what I mean? Like, there's many ways to look at it, but I will try to generalize a little bit so that when somebody sees a video which is for, but he belongs in the category, because this is our spare rider, that he could possibly buy a 1000cc, a super sport in general, as a first bike, he might get disencouraged, and vice versa. A guy that is not meant to, because of age, because of maturity, because of a million things, he might see a video that will say, yeah, go for it, and he will get it. So I want to turn the focus, which I had not seen these videos do so far. The boots are fucking awesome now, yeah. Not only that, but when I do this, the boot moves easier because it sits less high. Like even a slight thing that I grinded it, the gear kicks in easier. And I get home and I've eaten the whole sole out. Can you imagine that? No, I don't think so. I did it a little bit. So, as with all my videos, I don't have any surprises, or I don't like save the best for last. I come out straight ahead with my point and I say it. And I'll try to be as simple and as generic with this point, so that whoever sees my video straight away gets my mentality, where I stand. And if he disagrees and he gets pissed off, whatever, turn the channel off, you know what I mean? If he's curious, he disagrees, but he's like, hey, why is he saying that? He might keep on watching. So, what I will say dictates whether a super sport bike is for your first bike or not. Comes down to rider specifics. That's what I will call it, rider specifics, and I'll expand and I will get into more what I mean by that. Rider specifics is what determines whether a super sport bike is for a beginner bike or whether it's not for a beginner bike. There is no, how can I say it? There is no, I'm going really chilled out because I wanted the air to hit me. Nothing more, nothing less today. Like literally, if I was on top of a scooter now here, it will make no difference. Because I'm very tired, I don't feel, you know, confident. That's why I just wanted a little bit of fresh air. I think it comes down to rider specific, and I'll try to give a little bit of explanation of what I mean by that. It might sound silly if you just say it off like that. Rider specifics, what does it mean? I'll try to ungeneralize it, and then I'll try to go into explaining why. So rider specifics. What are these rider specifics? Rider specifics is your age, the driver's age, the driver's, and this doesn't mean that because you got the age, you got the other, or because you got the other, you got the age. Nah, these are totally irrelevant. You can be a 40-year-old guy and be mature as hell. You can be a 25-year-old guy and be hell mature. You know what I mean? I'm just stating the specifics. The one is age. Age plays a difference. It is a determining factor. How is age a determining factor? Age is a determining factor because you might be going through, let's say, an older person will be much more likely to have a wife, to have a girlfriend, to have a kid, to have more responsibilities. And an older person will, and I'm not talking about, I'm saying older, I don't mean older, yeah, like 40 years old to me is not old, 50 years old is not old, you know what I mean, but whatever. An older person is more difficult to heal. If you have a crash, you fall down from your bike and you're 25 years old, your body heals faster than if you are, you know, if you are 40 something years old. So obviously, you know, the age plays a huge role into it. Maturity, which again is irrelevant from age. Maturity plays a huge role onto it as well. Mental maturity, self-restraint. How much can you restrain yourself? So if you have a 1000cc bike but you are able to restrain yourself, then it's okay. Self-restraint, as I said, maturity, knowledge, that's another key component. You might be a guy that has never ridden a bike, but you might have read a lot about bikes. So how much have you researched the subject before you go into buying a bike? Have you read a lot about bikes? What type of bikes have you learned? Do you know the mechanical things about bikes? You know what I mean? There was a friend of mine who I'm not going to say his name and everything, but there was a friend of mine, my mechanic's son, where he hasn't got a bike, which was strange to me. And I told him, "You're a mechanic, dude." He goes, "Yeah, I don't have a bike. I know how to drive them. I don't have a license, and I don't have my own bike. I take test drives my dad's bikes or what we fix together, but that's about it." You know what I mean? So, but that guy has a lot of mechanical knowledge and know-how and how a bike behaves. You know what I mean? He might not have a first bike, but his ear attunement to the bike and to what's going on is out of the world. So he's able to take your bike around he has no bike, by the way. He's able to take your bike around the thing, and by listening to it, he can tell you what the problem is. So he knows and understands how a bike behaves. That's another rider specific. Another rider specific is skill, and you cannot judge skill. You might say I'm the best, but skill is part of it. And when I say skill, you might think, what do you mean skill? You know what I mean? Like, I mean skill in the sense of reflexes, hand-eye coordination, dexterity, responsiveness. That might play a role with age a little bit, but again, I'm separating this. Another big one of a rider specific thing is tastes, likes, and preferences, obviously. So if you're going to get, you know, if you're going to get a naked bike just so you don't get a super sport because you're afraid, but you really love super sport and you only love super sport, then I will say, dude, go ahead and get a fucking super sport. You know what I mean? Why put yourself in the misery? You know what I mean? Why do this to yourself? Go get a super sport and just be careful. You know what I mean? Be careful. And when it comes to super sports, which I did not mention at the beginning, I said this super sport a big thing. There are some small super sports as well. You know, we're talking about the 300, 400 class, the 600 class and the 1000 class. So super sport doesn't exactly mean a little bike. You know what I mean? So if you really like it, that's another thing. Preferences, tastes, you know, what you like and everything. Now, and why I say all these things. You can literally get any bike that you want for your first bike. One thing to consider is how expensive your bike is going to be. And you got to take into account a huge possibility of you falling down. If you think you're going to prevent falling down, you're not going to fall down, period. I think that is a disillusional, let's say, and that it does not exist. From silly falls, I'm not talking anything major. If you take that into account and you say that, okay, I don't want to be extreme, but anyway, I think the percentage is higher, but I will say 80%. If you think to yourself that 80% I'm going to have 1, 2 falls, silly falls, not crazy, knock on wood, and that I will like to mitigate this, wear full protective gear and everything, and you go into it like that, then you also start thinking about other things, which is like, what if I fall down with a super sport bike? There's a lot of fairings, there's a lot of cost to it. If I fell down with a naked bike, you know, there's not that much cost. Should I put some protection on my bike? Frame sliders, different things like that. So there's a different process that you go into. That process can also affect whether you're going to buy a super sport bike for your first bike. You might think to yourself that I don't want to risk falling down with my most dream bike, because I'm going to just like psychologically get more fucked, you know what I mean? Whereas if I have like a second-hand machine, like a learning bike, and I do something silly, it's not gonna hurt me as much, let's say. That is also valid. So all these points are valid. All these points are valid. All these points are valid, and you can decide for yourself whether you want to get a specific bike or not. I will say there is no bike that cannot be a first bike. 1000cc super sport, go for it. 600cc super sport, go for it. No super sport, go for it. Naked big king, go for it. Whatever. As long as you take all these parameters into account and you understand what can happen, what can go wrong, what can go good, what you gotta be careful of in general. As long as you take those parameters into account, then you'll be good. And just to give now a little bit of my experience, give me 1 sec. I just want to see the boots. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're good. Much better. Okay. We might stop a little bit here. This is one of the places that I like to come at night. I had done some videos here before. We might chill out a little bit. I've got the front camera, so I can take my helmet off. Record from there. Oh, actually, I cannot take my helmet off because no one's going to be able to hear me. Goddamn. We'll see how we go with post edit. Now I do want to be able to take my thing off, and whenever it happens that, you know, that I'm stationary, I never take my helmet off, which kind of pisses me off. Alright, so let's have a little bit of, maybe if I close the bike and maybe if I speak a little bit lower, you might be able to hear me. So I'm going to take the helmet off and I might lean forward in order for you to have the camera like this. I might lean like that, maybe so you can see me better. So I might switch the audio to that camera again. I want to have a smoke. I want to enjoy the night today because I'm very tired. I'm sore in my body. I didn't sleep at all. I woke up 3 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock at night. I was having smokes like a fucking Nosferatu vampire. I had a hard time sleeping. I was on neighbor patrol. And some of the experiences that I want to mention, for example. One of the ways that I have fallen down is because I forgot the lock on my disc lock. That can happen on anything. That's a fall. You know what I mean? Another thing that I did, there was a nice turn where I had no visibility, and it was the first time that I was taking a specific turn. I did not know what was up ahead. I leaned over the bike, I took the turn much more. As soon as I take the turn, red light, stationary cars, slam on the brakes, hit a couple of mirrors in between the cars, almost got fucked up. What role does the bike play? You know what I mean? Nothing. It's that obsessive factor. Yeah, if you're going to get a 1000 liters, you're going to do more things, you're going to get more obsessed. No, you get obsessed with any bike. You know what I mean? Not only that, but sometimes smaller bikes you might think like, they're more playful, so I can get away with more shit. It's, you know, it doesn't hold true. I'm not feeling very well. It doesn't mean that you can do whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? No matter what the bike is. Another fall that I mentioned in a previous video, I got hit by a taxi driver. What the fuck? How did I roll this shit? Jesus fucking Christ, what did I do to him? Shoved up my ass. I'm just leaning against something. Another fall that I had was bad judgment on my behalf, where a taxi driver hit me and I slammed off the bike. What difference did the bike play there? Nothing. Another thing that happened on my R6, which almost killed me, was that I was not used to, how can I say it? I was used to a naked bike that didn't have as good grip as this, and I was planning to skid, where instead of skidding, the wheel gripped and it kind of almost did a wheelie as I was leaning. What's that? That's better technology. You know what I mean? So there's nothing in the bike that, you know, a little bike has got better discs, better brakes. You can brake quicker. This bike, for example, has saved me, where my previous bike, which was a Kawasaki Z50, I will probably be killed. In what sense? On the Z50, whenever I had like a panic or some guy fucking crossed the stop line or something, stop sign, and I slammed on the brakes, the Kawasaki as a naked bike, it was much more top heavy, and the back wheel used to like skip. It used to go like that. It didn't have an anti-slip thing, it didn't have any of this technology. It used to do like shit like that. And the front wheel was like, the front brake used to like, sometimes it used to like start going, it would lock. Or when you panic and you press both brakes, that's shit. It was not braking as fast. Similar thing happened on the R6. I was on a light and the light goes green. I looked, there's no cop, but nobody was starting. I thought, fucking idiots. I was going slow. I was going like 50. Fucking idiots. And I go like that. The reason why people had not started, because an old fucking grandfather was crossing the road like that with his old fucking SUV, and was going like an idiot. They had seen him. I had not seen him because I was between. As soon as he's in front of me, I see him. Slam on the brakes on the R6. If I had the Z750, I would have started doing that shit here. Probably hit a car because I was in between cars. Because the back wheel starts going like that. Now I probably hit a couple of cars, I would have been fucked. With this bike, he didn't do nothing like that. The bike kneeled. Better technology, Super Sport. So the Super Sport can save your life. The bike kneeled, and because I had pressed the brakes a lot and I panicked, my whole weight went forward. The bike lifted. I ended the bike hectically. I ended the bike on a straight line, dead straight line. I didn't even hit any of the cars. And when I saw that as I was endoing, I could see I was getting close to the car. I let go of the brake, the back wheel slams down, and I do a maneuver and I just nicked the back of his car. Like I didn't hit him, I just skimmed behind him. So it saved my life. The Z750, what I'm explaining now, will never done in a million years. I don't care what fucking driver you are, you know what I mean? I don't care if you didn't fucking opposite wheel and fucking burn out this way and that way, you will never fucking pass that shit. The way that it was, this is that it was, the technology on these brakes, and the fact that the front wheel didn't lock, but rather it ended before it started locking, which was also an indication. The Z750 will not endo because you're in higher position. Without any warning, it will just fucking slip. It will lock the front wheel. This one was like hard brake, panic brake, but progressive, and therefore it ended, and therefore I understood better. So this bike teached me not to crash on that specific moment. So there's nothing that you can say, this bike is like this bike is like that. There's been most of the obsessive shit that I've done was not with this bike. They're dangerous. And when you see a 600cc super sport or 1000 liter bike going crazy on the road and reaching like 200 something speeds, you might see me reach them as well. It doesn't mean that it's more dangerous, you know what I mean? Any driver, if you ask them, and I hope all of you watching the video get a bike if you don't have a bike, you will realize this slowly that there's a fine line between I'm pushing it, I'm chasing my luck, and there's no luck, but you get what I'm saying. And I am going as much as the machine is enabling it to go. There's a huge difference there. You know what I mean? You will know it. You might take a turn something, and then as you're taking the turn, everything goes good and awesome, you're happy, and then a thought will go past your mind quickly of fuck, there wasn't good visibility, and what happened if there was cars there? Some silly thought like that will pass your mind, and then you realize that, yeah, I did fucking push it there a bit. You know what I mean? No visibility turn, blind turn. You've taken the turn 10 times, and you take a fucking spasting, and you think yourself, dude, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. That kind of pushing, you know what I mean? When you're on a straight road and there's an opening and you're just going fucking fast, and you can associate your speed with other cars' speed and get the acceleration, it might look to somebody that is not a biker that it's extreme, but it might not be extreme. So that also plays a role. And there's many other examples. I can't think of examples in the moment now, but each bike behaves differently. Each bike behaves differently, and depends on what you get used to when you're on the bike. You might get used to a specific way of driving. You might, if you've seen a lot of MotoGP, and that plays a role also, it dictates sometimes what you do and how you do it, even on a subconscious level. The way that I was driving a naked bike, which was like a super sport riding, because I had seen a lot of MotoGP races. You don't realize it. I'm not saying that because you watch something you become an expert, but because you watch something on a replay, when you get first on the bike, you might do something subconsciously. Your body might take a form because you replayed it on your brain a lot. And there is a gap between physically doing something and watching it, but it can influence you. That's what I'm saying. So you might have seen a lot of super sport things, and you try to do a super sport move, driving a turning technique on a naked bike, and that might not go right for you. So many things that play a role. And the mechanical thing that I'm saying now is got to do it with understanding the mechanics of your bike. The mechanics of your bike, and that's why I give the example of the guy that was a mechanic, that he knows a lot of shit. You might get a 1000 super sport bike, you might get a Z50, you might get a naked bike, you might get whatever bike you want to get. And all is fair and well, no problem, but you listening to a specific component before it actually goes bad might also save your life. So the knowledge, that's why I said before, the knowledge of the bike. If you're somebody that is obsessed and has read a lot about bikes, that also affects how you drive. It might not affect if you're a good driver or a bad driver, but it might save your life if something happens and you know, or you read about it, and then you'll think to yourself, oh fuck, you know what I mean? To give an example, the first time that I was on a bike and I had read some things about motorcycles, and a big gust of wind pushed me. I was like, I wanted to close the gas, but milliseconds in my mind it clicked in of, like, just before the wind hit me, I thought, like, I was thinking about it actively, and I was saying that, you know, in case the wind hits you, you gotta like keep your gas steady, or possibly power through it, you know what I mean? Don't close your gas. And as I was doing all that, milliseconds, the wind pushed me, and that helped me keep my hand there. What do you call that? That's not experience. That's just me reading something, knowing about it, and just playing it in my head. That saved me. What difference does it make if it was a 600 and 1000 thingy? So there's a lot of components which dictate what will happen to you, depending on your knowledge, how you understand that things are happening, learning the feedback from your bike, and things as such. So I will say to everybody, be mindful, know one's self, your limits, your capabilities. If you know that you're a person that gets overly obsessed and you might be taking some risks, then possibly a super sport bike might not be the one for you. All these things play a huge role. All these things play a huge role on whether you are going to do or you're not going to do something. So you gotta take care, you gotta think about all these things and do them accordingly. Okay, so I think I will bid you good night. I think I analyzed the topic enough. I don't want to take too much of your time. We had a smoke, it was more relaxed. I will say to everybody, wait these things out, think about the specifics, and then go for it. Don't let any label hold you back. Okay guys, I'd like to thank everybody. I hope you have an awesome night. Stay safe, always. Beautiful night today. And we'll talk soon. Bye bye.